Okay, mic check 1 2 1 2. JV Wins is here. Dogon SS is here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Conscious Approach live stream. This is March the 5th. Thank you for joining us here on our little corner of the internet. Do your boys a big old solid. Subscribe to the channel, man. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other video. We certainly appreciate it. We love kicking that game. Major shouts out to everybody who has recently hit that subscribe button. It's real cool. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for the support as we continue to keep this thing rocking and rolling. We got a few interesting topics to talk about tonight. With that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get started. First up, we are going to discuss a conversation between Lil Yachty and Dr. Umar Johnson. Umar Johnson is undoubtedly a friend of the channel at this point. And he recently joined Yachty on his what is this thing called? A Safe Place. So Yachty has a podcast. It's called A Safe Place. It's booming. He's had people on there like Drake, J. Cole. Umar Johnson was on there and they got into a conversation about BBLs. Now, we have mentioned BBLs on this channel many times, not directly as a topic, but just, various other topics that we will discuss. Inevitably, we might hit on BBLs as an aspect of that particular topic. But I think this is the first time that we have ever discussed BBLs in and of themselves as their own topic. But in order to go ahead and kick this thing off, we'll go ahead and provide some context. So let me go ahead and cue this up real quick. This was Umar Johnson joining Lil Yachty on the A Safe Place podcast. And this was an interesting part of their conversation when they started talking about BBLs and rather more specifically, women's motivation behind the decision to do it. So we'll go ahead and play this and then we will give our opinions on this conversation afterwards, of course.
All right. So what I was going to say was that I think a lot of women make decisions, A, for themselves, and B, to impress their friends just as much as a man.
Tell me about the. Okay, go ahead.
That's what I'm saying.
You
Like,
said impress their friends.
yeah, I think a lot of women do things to like keep up with their friends and impress their.
Are
Like,
you telling me you think women got the BBLs more to impress their
I
girlfriends
didn't say more.
than to be viewed as attractive as a man?
I didn't say more, but I do think there's
Which
women.
one leads?
Sure.
Which one leads? Impressing the friends.
I think impressive.
or
I
wanting
think
to be
for
perceived
themselves.
as attractive.
What I ain't gotta be attractive. I think it's just for self-esteem. I think sometimes women look in the mirror.
Did
and
you hear what he just said?
But not
It's for what?
for them-
Self-esteem,
for themselves,
Yachty.
but right to for themselves though. It don't have to be for another
Okay,
man.
but why is the self-esteem low without the BBL?
Based on your friends.
No, it's based on the values of the culture and the society in which they live. And we got to admit something, black men. We have sexually objectified the black woman into a sexual instrument. And you know why this hurts me? Who's the number one sex trafficking victim in America right now, Yachty?
Okay, so that's pretty much the gist of it because they go on to start talking about, trafficking. We don't need to. Yeah.
This is a BBL
we don't.
discussion.
We don't. Yeah. We don't need to venture into that territory. So yeah, I felt like those were interesting topics because Yachty is saying that they do it of their. Essentially, what Yachty is saying, I don't want to put words into his mouth, but it sounds like he's saying that they do it of their own volition. Women, they choose to get BBLs of their own volition for self-esteem and to get the affirmation of their friends. Whereas Umar Johnson is like, no, it's because they have been sexualized by culture, and that's why they do it. So, what side of the aisle do you fall on this? Do you think that there's a validity to any of them? You think both of them are right? Neither one. The truth is somewhere in the middle. What's your take on that exchange?
I think um I think Yachty's confused. I think Yachty has been, that's what women would say. A woman would say that they're getting it to impress other women, and for self-esteem. That's typically the excuse of what a woman says whenever she runs and get one. But key word there, and my thoughts is excuse. and I don't think that's the real reason why they're going to get it. I think it's more in line with Umar's line of thought, um, where it's more of a sexual marketplace kind of thing, where women have been commodified and treated as sexual objects. I wouldn't so much so blame the consumers, who ultimately end up doing it, but I would also say that there was just all forms of entertainment uh, encourages us to treat women as sexual objects in our community. At least I'll speak for that. So, in turn, I believe what ended up happening is that that thirst for tricking, that thirst for something quick and easy, microwavable, uh, it turned into a culture of microwavable relationships, transactional relationships. And then when you have that as a dynamic, it's no longer about natural beauty of I have these curves because I can bear children. It's more of I have these curves so you can give me money. And so what ends up happening is that there's just this whole culture now of women who do this for attention, financial gain, amongst other things. So I would say that their self esteem is somewhere tied up in the mix, but the only reason why their self esteem is out of whack is due to, again, the marketplace having its air quote demand, but it's not the marketplace for everyone in our community. It's more or less the mainstream. So I just really think that it's a unfortunate set of circumstances. I don't think it's going anywhere. I thought that breast enhancements, I thought that was going to get played out because that's been out since the '90s, you know, in popularity. And I thought that was going to get played out. It never did. Women are still running and getting those. So for the foreseeable future, man, I don't see BBLs going anywhere, and I think it's a byproduct of over sexualization in the media that in turn plays into an over sexualized mind in men, which in turns creates demand in the market for quick and easy fun. So, what are your thoughts, sir, on Dr. Umar and Lil Yachty? Thoughts on BBLs? What do you feel? How do you feel?
The one thing that I can say right off the bat, in my opinion, is that you know, in the future, whenever we do topics like this, it probably behooves us to have women on here
Mm-hmm.
um, to sort of give their thoughts on this. And we need a women who have them and women who don't, because you can't have one or the other. You need the perspectives of both. But since we didn't do that, obviously, and it's just the two of us,
Sorry,
what I
guys.
can say, you're right. What I can say, what I can say right off the bat is I don't think it has anything to do with them wanting to impress their friends. So
No.
I think Yachty is way off base in that regard. But I do think he is half right when he is talking about them looking for a mode by which to boost their self esteem.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the reason that they're boosting it, according to him, is incorrect. So he's saying that they are trying to get their self esteem boosted by way of the affirmation that they receive from friends and people close to them who are going to big them up for their look. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think that they are looking to receive that affirmation and that self esteem from attention from men. That's what they're looking for it for. I don't think it has anything to do with their friends or with anything like that. I think it is attention from men. I think that's the primary driving force or motivation behind their decision to do this. And if I'm going to think that, then the question therein becomes, you know, where are all the men in the world telling women that this is what we want, therefore go out and do that because that's what we want? Like, question for you. Do you personally know any guys who go for the BBL look?
No, and they would get exiled if they. Because I don't know what
Like,
else he on.
like I know a lot of people, right? I
Yeah.
know a lot of guys. I know a lot of people, but then I know a lot of guys too. Like I don't know one guy who really goes for that look. I don't really know one guy. So where are all the men who are clamoring for this? You know, I remember I seen a video. I think I mentioned this video on this channel
Mhm.
a while back. It was a video that I seen. It was a nondescript podcast. I don't even remember what the name of the podcast was. It was a video clip that I saw on World Star of this chick who was describing the mentality of a woman who goes for BBLs. And what the girl was saying was, like, why do you resort to getting the BBL? Don't you realize that you can approximate that look naturally by just committing yourself to fitness and exercise and dieting for a whole year? This is what she was saying. So she was like, y'all going out here to get these surgeries and getting your bodies cut up to achieve a particular kind of look, when all you have to do is commit yourself to these things for about a year and you can approximate that same look. But you don't want to do that. Instead, you relent and you go for these BBLs. And why are you choosing to do that? It's not that men are asking for these things, it's because it's a certain type of man that you're looking for the attention from. You're not looking for it from any man or all men. It's a specific type of profile that you're trying to receive attention from. Hence the motivation behind going and doing that. Because like I said, I don't know a guy who likes that. I mean, I know guys who will have a night of fun with it. I don't know a single guy who's going to take it seriously. So where are all of these guys? Like, because I've heard that before. I've heard, well, that's what men like, or we do it because that's what the men want. And I'm thinking to myself, what dudes are you talking about? Like, where are all of these men who like this? It's a certain kind of man that you picture liking this. And that's why Umar ultimately to me is right. It is a form of cultural affirmation. It's a cultural signifier. It has nothing to do with what men want in general, and it has everything to do with the type of messages that you consume on a regular basis and what those messages are telling you men want through the prism of that micro universe. So if you're listening to a certain kind of music all the time, if you're watching a certain kind of TV show all the time, if you are watching particular kinds of movies more often than you should, or it doesn't even have to be entertainment, it can be your feeds. If you're on your feeds all the time and you follow certain types of people, certain types of men that you admire, and you notice that every time you see these guys with a woman, she looks like she has a surgically fixed body. It's like subconsciously you're telling yourself, I need to conform to that standard because my cultural edification is such that that's the kind of profile that I'm looking for in terms of men. And those men are saying that those are kind of women that they want. And they're even showing us that those are the kinds of men that they want. Now, the problem with that is, and we've talked about that on this channel a lot, that's not real culture. This music stuff is not real. It's not real culture. I'm sorry, guys, but rap and hip hop is not culture. It's entertainment. It's not culture. I know that we have been conditioned to believe that it's culture, but it's not. It's microwavable, consumable entertainment. But because we believe it's culture, Umar Johnson is 100% on the money. It's the culture from which they came. So if the culture from which you come is telling you, based upon the messages that you receive from that culture, that this is what men want, you're going to try to acquiesce to that as much as possible. The problem with acquiescing to something as serious as a surgical augmentation to your body is when you do it based upon a foundation that's not real, a la rap and hip hop and reality TV and all of these kinds of things,
Mhm.
which are entertainment, not actual culture. What ends up happening is you're making these huge decisions, these artificial decisions, these fake decisions based upon a foundation that itself isn't real because this isn't real culture. It's entertainment. So I agree with Umar. It is based upon the culture from which they came. Because what does this culture tell these? What do these cultural signifiers tell all of us? That women are sexualized. And it's jumped the shark so much that even the women who participate in that culture reinforce it by doing the same thing. So when a lot of these female rappers talk about how they are, modern day, essentially they're talking about how they are modern day women of the evening. When they're rapping about how their vagina is for sale, they are reinforcing the same tropes from the male equivalent on the other side that's been telling us for 20, 30 years that women are just a cute face in a box. So when you see these guys parading around either on the internet or in their videos, or when you hear them talking about these things in their songs, and you see the kind of women that they're with and they look a certain kind of way, because we have the inability to think for ourselves, here we go trying to conform to those standards. So it's 100% culture. But I will say that Yachty is halfway correct when he talks about self esteem, because I do think for a lot of these types of people, for a lot of these women, they get self esteem from the attention, albeit fake artificial attention, that they get from the individuals who are going to give them attention for looking like this. So they are going to, in a roundabout way, have their self esteem boosted as a result. So that part isn't completely false. But overall, it really is about culture. And I was gonna actually pose the question to you, ethnically speaking, who are the majority of the types of women you see actually trying to do this stuff? But I would imagine what your answer to that question is. And so I think that this is a cultural observation. I think Umar is right. It is a cultural observation. That's not to say it's a one size fits all, because you do see women from other communities doing this stuff. But I guarantee you, in terms of the consumable culture, in terms of the culture that they consume, there are going to be parallels between women from other communities who do these things and women from our community who do them. I guarantee you they watch the same type of movies, listen to the same type of music, and have the same kinds of stuff popping up on their feeds on their phones all the time. So there might be an ethnic divergence there, but in terms of the things that they consume culturally, there's a lot of similarities. So I think that's where it comes from largely. So I think they're both right. Yachty's halfway right. I think Umar is mostly correct. It is all about culture.
Yeah, I say as far as the ethnic part, I of course, a lot of black people do it, a lot of black women do it. But I also see a lot of Hispanic women do it, or yeah, Hispanic, I think I should say it right. Latinas. So they do that a lot, especially you should notice in Miami.
Of
Uh
course. Yeah.
uh now uh Spanish women can have a naturally curvy body. Yes, they can. But I also see enhancements. It was usually the breast, um 90s, 2000s. They were doing that anyway. But then I'm starting to see hips and ass coming from their community as well. Just go to Walmart, you'll see it. So
Yeah.
it's in their community too.
It's
Uh
everywhere. Yeah.
yeah. But um to speak on, do I personally know anybody that is into BBLs? No, I haven't met anybody. But um grab any Insta girls BBL picture model girl. All right. She's got tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of followers. She's getting likes all the time. Women are following her, men are following her. The women are telling her how beautiful she is. The men are saying good morning. Yeah, I love you, and all this other good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Go live, please. All this other stuff.
What's your
And
cash app?
what's your cash app? You know, and she thinks she bad. Everybody sees it. You know, regular girl. Regular build. Don't say that out loud. And then she posts her picture and she's looking nice. She's looking cute, put together. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to show a little skin, but no one's still noticing. She wants that attention. And as you mentioned, so it's an online factor too. But then in person and in public, yeah, what kind of catch are you trying to get? Some girls don't even know what they're trying to catch. They just want to look bad. So it's a lot of dynamics on it. Basically, BBL culture is no different than thugging culture. And so whenever you meet a young man from a good, well-to-do community or whatever, and he's out here trying to bang and saying gang every other sentence, and it's like, come on, bro, what are you doing? You know, doing his best Slim Jesus impersonation, just embarrassing himself. And why is he doing that? Some of these guys crash out and go to jail, and they weren't a lick of tough. But what? So as you mentioned, as Umar mentioned, it's a part of whatever artificial culture this is. And these are byproducts of years, decades of massaging the brains of people. So it becomes an automated thing. And last point, kind of like when you say Yachty's off base in his premise of they're doing it to impress their friends. He is off base if he simply thinks that's what it is. But there's a degree of trying to impress their friends that the girls are trying to do too, or just impress their friends or other girls. And it's the competitive side in every woman, because all women are competitive. They hate each other, and so not really, but they do. And they're always competing against one another, trying to be the best, trying to be the baddest. You who's got the best skin regimen, who's got the best this, who's got the best that. That's why he getting his men ain't paying attention to nails, eyebrows. We ain't doing that. I know I don't, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever she gets them done, I have to make, snap, like she got them done. I have to mention, you got your nails done? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I gotta fake that. I don't give a shit.
Couldn't care less.
I don't care. So there is an element that these girls are out here. It's basically no different than, you know what I'm saying? If you're on a court and you hooping, you just trying to let everybody else know you get buckets, during a warm up. Hey, bro, I get buckets, bro. It's the same type of flex of, you know what I'm saying? I get dudes, or I could pull your man. It's that's going on too. So with that element that's already naturally in women, because that was here before BBLs and internet. Now with all of this extra stuff that's going on, there's juicers. There's girls doing Balco out here. So these girls out here trying to juice, trying to compete in the marketplace. But who created this marketplace in the first place? So this stems back to the artificial culture that people have been consuming for over sexualization. The humans are already sexual enough as it is. We don't need every song and every video to be either talking about love or everything else in between. So yeah, man, interesting conversation here. I just think it's more of the women's version of guys sagging pants and all this other stuff. This is the inverse operation of that, and this is how.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. We basically pinpointed that, like, vagina rap is the other side of the coin of trap rap.
Right.
So, it, like, vagina rapping is women's trap. That's women's cocaine and bricks, is
Right.
them talking about their sex game in their box, and their fellatio game, and how good they look. It's the opposite side of the same coin, but it's all based upon an artificial culture that isn't real, is the thing.
Correct.
Because any sort of culture that is rooted in hypersexualization, sexualization is a part of human existence, of course, but the hypersexualization of it from a commercialized standpoint is artificial. It's not real.
Correct.
Hence why the byproduct of that, or at least one of the byproducts, is body types that aren't real, fake. And two points real quick. When you mention like the Latino community, they do it too. That's 100% correct. But like I said before, oftentimes there are similarities with respect to the consumption of the type of things that those people consume. So, like, what I've mostly seen, and it's not all, but most of the instances that I've seen of, like, Latino women, for example, who do it, like I said before, they largely listen to the same kind of music that we do. and they watch a lot of the movies that we do, and they consume a lot of the same content on the internet that we do. There's outliers, but for the most part, I think that there's a crust in the middle of the type of things that are going to come your way and sort of get fed into your brain that make you more likely than not to make those kinds of choices, to do those kinds of things. And then the other thing that I was going to say something else too, but I forgot what my last point was.
Oh, good.
Oh, when you brought up the point about being on a court, and you want to show that you can get buckets. Like when you're on the court and you want to show that you can get buckets, yeah, you want to show that you can get buckets, but there is an end goal to that, which is winning the game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think for them, yeah, they're trying to get buckets, but there's also winning the game too. And I
Yeah.
think the primary way that you win the game in this respect is by being able to, at least on a regular enough basis, like claim or get the attention of the kind of men that you're looking to get the attention from. I kind of feel like within those circles, whoever is garnering the most attention in that respect, the dude with the biggest bag, the dude who's the tallest, or the dude who has the most social cachet, or the dude who has all of the above, whichever one of them can amass the majority of the attention therein based upon the work that they put in through these various means such as BBLs, I think that they look at that as winning, the same way that we look at actually winning the game as winning on a basketball court. I don't know if any of that made sense, but it's kind of like my way of trying to bring home the idea of the motivations behind these things. I mean, we never do things for the sake of doing it. There's always a point behind it, and the point is to win. So the question is, what is the winning in that? And I do think that, in my opinion, the winning in this BBL thing derives from like the kind of attention from men that they're looking for, the kind of attention from the kind of men that they are looking for. I think if you take that away, I think for a lot of them, if you tell them, hey, listen, after you do this, you're not going to really get attention from the kind of men that you're looking for. Your life is pretty much going to stay the same. Not that that happens, because their life doesn't stay the same. But I'm just trying to make my point that if you were to say that, hey, listen, after you do this, nothing's really going to change in your life in terms of men. It's pretty much going to stay exactly the same. I think that's a lot of them might not do it, because I think so few of them actually do it purely for the attention from other women as a self-esteem booster.
Yep. Hey, tell me you got low self-esteem without telling me you got low self-esteem. That's why it's unattractive to me. And if you think that plastic or whatever the hell they injected inside of you, cement in some cases, if you think that's what makes you look beautiful, then you've already lost the game over here. So, hey
Well, I
man,
mean,
that's
those,
natural ladies. Keep it natural.
yeah. Well, the thing about it at the end of the day is, and I have actual personal experience with this, so I'll speak for myself because I've experienced with this. The kind of chicks who get BBLs don't really give a damn about the perspective of guys like us anyway. So they have nothing to lose. They don't give a damn. Who cares?
Exactly.
They're not checking for me or you anyway. So who
Right.
gives a shit what our opinion is? But it ain't got nothing to do with. I don't think it has anything to do with any. I think it is self-esteem, but I think it's rooted in culture, not purely because like self. You do. You get into extracurricular activities, and you exercise, and you spend time with family, and you learn a new skill. Like those are the kinds of things that you do to actually intrinsically boost your self-esteem, not to get a fake ass. But
2024, baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shouts out to all the ladies out there with BBLs.
Yeah, my bad. I wasn't judging you like that. Hit like and subscribe.
Shouts out to Yachty and Umar too.
Chill.